Hi, welcome to our presentation, The Turnaround Dance, Chapter 10. My name is Amy Shrum, and I'll be the speaker for our group presentation with Christine Gentile as the PowerPoint creator and Susan Steffens as our writer. We will cover points in Chapter 10 regarding Cookie Davis, including her life history, our group thoughts, and what we found to be key insights in the story. A question and answer forum is also available at the end of this presentation. Cookie, also known as Coleman Davis, was born in 1951 and lived in Cape Porpoise, Maine for the majority of his life. Cape Porpoise is a working-class fishing village located between the wealthier communities of Kennebunk and Kennebunkport. Many of the local townspeople of Cape Porpoise believe the legend that during Cookie's childbirth, the umbilical cord became wrapped around his neck, causing mental impairment. He was labeled most of his life as brain damaged and retarded by doctors and townfolk alike, but he never actually felt that he had a disability. Cookie faced many challenges in his life. As a young boy, he was bullied by his peers and was called names like retard and fag. He was often chased home and pelted with rocks by other children. At the time of the interview with Jonathan Mooney, Cookie was 52 years old. A 6-foot, 5-inch tall and lean man with hands and arms of a dock worker who happened to wear dresses and sport a long blonde wig. During Jonathan Mooney's interview with Cookie, he told Jonathan that he was writing a book about his transition from a man to a woman. Cookie also mentioned that since he was a young boy, he remembered feeling like he was Daddy's little girl. He always felt like a female, even though his physical appearance was that of a male. Cookie graduated high school and attended college, but whether he graduated college is unknown. Cookie married a local girl named Lisa in the early 90s. They left Cape Porpoise and lived in Australia for 2 years, but the marriage didn't last. Back in Cape Porpoise, he made a living working in the bait shed for the lobstermen, states Mooney. It was later in life when he began to paint. Cookie's paintings were mostly Maine landscapes. He had a strong sense of community in his hometown, so he often painted landscapes of the sea, rocks, and surrounding architecture. Cookie lived at home with his mother in a 2-bedroom shack with no running water or bathroom. Cookie's mother, Viola, became ill with cancer and died in 1998. After the divorce and his mother's death, Cookie began to paint. Many people compared Cookie to Grandma Moses, a famous folk artist, but this infuriated Cookie. Cookie didn't like the comparison to Grandma Moses. Cookie called his art retemperance. To Cookie, this means thinking of a place and doing it. How our group resonates with the Cookie Davis story. One aspect that resonated with all of us was the sense of community and belonging. Christine noted that even though Cookie was not considered normal due to his behavior and dress, he was still accepted because he was considered part of the community and deserved to be protected. As an individual, I found resonance with Cookie's painting as he began only after his divorce and mother's death. I have always found painting to be therapeutic, especially in times when healing may be needed most, such as divorce or death of a loved one. Cookie was very close to his mother, who died of cancer. It was at that time he found resiliency to heal when painting, or so it seems. Sue felt that the portion that resonated with her was Cookie's change in life's path at a later stage in life. Cookie began transitioning to a woman and also became an artist. As what many would consider a middle-aged woman, Sue is now beginning a transition to a new career through education and interest at a later stage in life. The townspeople accepted Cookie, even going so far as to raising money to ensure that Cookie would never lose his home. During this time in Cape Porpoise, many out-of-towners were buying property, mainly for use as vacation homes. Cookie began to face opposition once the influx of wealthy newcomers and land developers began coming to the area. One night, a man knocked on Cookie's door and said he was part of the committee. who wanted him to leave town or they would ruin his house because they didn't like his type. When Cookie asked what he meant by type, he was told gender-wise. Cookie followed up the next day with the town selectman and found out that this person was a land developer. Sadly, Cookie said of the incident, "They thought I was infected. I'm supposed to be gay and infected." The townspeople stood by Cookie because they felt that he was one of them and also an underdog. Although Cookie was accepted, he became more of a recluse as years passed. As community erodes and people become less engaged in community activities and concerns, they become less tolerant, more cynical, and less empathetic to the misfortunes of others. Cookie never felt like an outsider or different until newcomers moved in. This relates to the concept in our textbook, Diversity Consciousness, as the author describes social marginality, meaning exclusion, that results from being seen as an outsider. Butcher, 2015. The newcomers, who were less tolerant and accepting of his behavior, affected Cookie's sense of belonging. Cookie, at one point in his life, tried to assimilate to the society and culture around him. He married a woman, though admittedly stated he was homosexual and felt like he was a female since a young child. Cookie was trying to assimilate to shake off the labels retard, fag, different, not normal that he'd had since he was a young child. It was only when Cookie began to be open about who she was that she found her true talent as an artist. Through this truth, she was able to rid herself of the personal and social barriers that were holding her back. Here's the Q&A section. You should pause the video if you need to view the question. How do you feel about people who are transgender? Do you believe they are really trapped in the wrong body, or do they have GDD, gender dysmorphic disorder? The author points out that Cookie's sex reassignment may be asking too much of the community. Do you think it would make a difference compared to how he lives pre-op? Cookie's birth name was Coleman Davis, but he called himself other names like Dominique, Helene, Louise, Emmanuel, Victoria, Heather, Renee, De Janeiro, London. Do you think he was trying to find his identity by having so many other names? His paintings always included a narrative, a story that depicted details of Maine and probably his personal memories. The book calls them a deep map of Cookie's world. Do you think this is because he doesn't want to forget where he came from, Cape Porpoise? Or might he have been trying to let others know who he is through his paintings? The majority of the community believed that Cookie had brain damage from birth. Do you believe the community would have been as accepting and protective of Cookie if he or she wasn't labeled brain damaged? If you have questions other than what we've provided, please post on our discussion board. Cookie changed her name to Dominique Helene London and was in the process of transitioning fully to a woman when she died of lung cancer in 2007.